Hello, hello. We're also missing more people today. I think COVID's not only ravaged the Premier League, it's also ravaged all over passion here. So we've brought in Nom today, back from I haven't had him on for a while, so it's nice to have him back. And it's me and Willow here. How are we doing, boys?
All good, mate. All good.
Man. I'm good. I brought tonsillitis with me, so anybody wants one, just give us a shout. I'll breathe all over you guys.
All right. So we're talking Leeds, and we're going to talk about this game because it is apparently going to go ahead. Leeds do have a massive amount of players gone, but the difference is it's all injuries and suspensions. So let's get it going and talk about what we think about this game. So what are we thinking about this game? How are you feeling going into it? Go Willow and then Nom after.
I hope it would be quite a routine win, to be honest. They're absolutely pillaged, as you said, Karen, they're absolutely pillaged with injuries. So they should. And I want to talk quickly about the last game we played against Leeds. We played in a cup game a couple months back, and they had a better team in that cup game than they'll be able to field tomorrow. So, and we played a second-ditch team, and we absolutely smacked them around the park. That was actually one of our best games this season. We really played really well in that game. So, if that's anything to go by, it should be a really routine victory.
Yeah. Nom?
Yeah, I think on paper we should win, but we're Arsenal, obviously. So I hate when we get these, I hate it when we go in there. I prefer it when there's a bit of tension there, and then that we're going to have to compete. I think Leeds will always send out. The thing with Bielsa, I mean, on paper, if we should win our one-to-one duels, and we should be the dominant team. But he'll definitely stand out and stick to his philosophy. There's no way I could see Leeds changing the way they approach the game. So I think Arteta's been really clever at analysing how we've encountered Leeds. I think it was the only time was that game. I think was it Pepe got sent off, and we still drew that game, didn't we? And we had chances at the end as well to nick the game. Do you guys remember? I think Saka had a chance, and I think Aubameyang had a chance. So he's done a good job on Bielsa so far, from what I can tell. He's the only time I think Leeds have had us on the rope was when we played him in the FA Cup in that first year that he was here, and that first half where they gave us real going over. And I think in the second half we came back and we were much more competitive. So all the signs point to us being able to do a job on them tomorrow. And I think it's important to keep the momentum going and that psychological sort of place that we're at the moment with our attacking play. I think that will be important tomorrow. So I think we need to go with the same kind of mindset, regardless of what a team Leeds send out. Because I've heard a few things like recently that some teams not on form and teams that we beat, etc. We should be beating them, blah blah. So why we're getting excited over this? But I think people are forgetting a point here, which is we've got a young team. Every victory helps to reinforce some of the principles the coach is trying to put across to them, especially when it comes to attacking and how we sustain pressure. So I think regardless of whoever we put in front of us, we have to keep on thinking about ourselves and what we're trying to develop in our facets of play. So that's what I would be looking forward to tomorrow, is us keeping on sort of building on that confidence that we've got. Doesn't matter. You can only beat, as I say, the teams that the team that's put in front of you. So I'm gonna. I know what you're going to say to me, Karen, at the end. You're going to ask me for a prediction, but you know what I'm going to say back to you on that. So I'm going to predetermine that. I'm more focused on how we play and what facets of play we keep on reinforcing in that game. I think that's going to be critical for us. I feel sorry for Leeds. I really do. But I think, I was reading some blogs with the Leeds supporters, and I think they're frustrated with Bielsa wanting to have a small squad. I think this is where it's biting them on the backside at the moment.
Yeah, so the main thing with this game, I think, is one, it's away. So with an away game, of course, our form has been well noted about how we travel with this team. And I think we need a performance that is not only something that we can show to our fans and the general public about what this team can do, but we need to sustain like we did against West Ham, a performance throughout the entire 90 minutes, which is very, very important at this moment in time, because we have the opportunity with the Hera and Norwich to put 6 points on the board and really put our stamp on this fourth position right now, as teams aren't playing or teams are looking to, the schedules are a bit messed up at this moment in time. There's only 2 games going ahead tomorrow, so there's a lot to look at in terms of tactically and in terms of how we need to look and to actually perform and make sure that we have a performance that is allowing us to make sure that the the principles that we have in place are carried out for a longer sustained period of time. And I think the good thing about the last couple of games has been the continuity as well in terms of the lineup. I think we're going to discuss that in a minute, but we're looking at the main thing I want to get across is we're looking at a 4-2-3-1 versus a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-3-3 battle here. And the main thing will be, how are we going to control that midfield and how are we going to keep them in their own half like we did against West Ham? So that is the main battle for me. Can you win your duels? Can you make sure that you aren't losing possession freely? Can you sustain that ability to make sure that you are getting the ball where it needs to be in the final third? And how are you going to move forward in these performances? Can we keep this run going? Can we keep it going now? Can we need to start building another run, getting a couple of games under our belt and really starting to push on? So Will, I'll go to you first. How do you think this game, what are the most important qualities that you want to see from this game from an Arsenal perspective?
I think we've got to start off just strongly. I think that's what we've got to do. I think it's carrying on winning our duels. Our defence didn't lose a duel against West Ham. So I think to be able to carry that on would be absolutely brilliant. And I think it's just going to be breaking them down. As you said, our away form hasn't been good. It's only 2 wins, 1 draw, 5 losses. So we really got to turn that around. So I think it's just starting strongly. I think we're going to have a lot of possession in this game. I think we're going to have, this is a game where you're going to be seeing us get at least 60% possession away from home, which has rarely happened this season. So I just think it's keeping the ball well. I think you need, Leeds always do punch, a bit of power in them. So I think you need that. I would like to see Emmy Smith-Rowe come back and start in this game. I think he'll be really good. I think there's a big decision on Lacazette, and I don't know what you boys think about it, but Lacazette has been obviously brilliantly for us at home. He played fantastic against Southampton. He was very good against West Ham. But you look away at Everton, he was non-existent. Do you play him or do you not? What do you think, Aaron, on that?
So for me, I think it's pretty. I don't really know what else you want us to do. I don't really want to see Nketiah up top right now.
Yeah.
And there's a case you can say for maybe put Nelly in the middle and then put Emil on the right and Ødegaard. I mean Emil on the left and Ødegaard in the middle, maybe, or something like this, or even maybe Balogun back. But I just think that at this moment in time, you've got 6 points on the board. You need to take that forward. I think maybe if it comes to the point where it's 55, 60 minutes in and it's just not working, you can change it. You can tweak things and maybe take him off. But I think you've got to go with the man who is more experienced, and especially with runners around him, you give Lacazette an option to feed players around him, like he did with Nelly to West Ham just this past game. So right now, I would say you have to go for Lacazette since there's no Aubameyang.
Yeah, I do agree. To be fair, if there is no, I really want to see Balogun get some game time.
Yeah, I do too.
I would love to see him start. But apart from that, I think we're just going to keep possession. I think Partey's going to be influential. I want to see what they do because Partey's been the person sitting back at the moment in the last. He's been screening, and to be fair, he hasn't been bad at doing it in the last few games. But I would like to see him take a bit more of an advanced role in this game. I'd love to see him actually get up there a bit more, find a couple tricky passes. Maybe actually get a shot on target from outside the box if we're lucky, if the blue moon's out. But I think it'll be the Saka show again. If Emil and Saka start together, I think it'll be the Saka show. I think he will obliterate. Who's going to be left back for Leeds tomorrow? Do we know?
Oh God. No.
Because that
Let me
Shackleton
think.
plays right back, doesn't he?
Yeah, Shackleton plays right back. Let me think.
Aylin's been playing centre back at the moment. I don't know
Yeah,
if he'll drop to left
Is
back.
Dallas playing? I think Dallas can play left back, can't he? He can play both.
Dallas has been
maybe.
playing in the middle of the park.
This is
Yeah,
the
but I
thing.
think because if they've had injuries, I think they're gonna have to shift players around to be able to fit them in.
I
Because
mean,
I think they know they need experience on that flank. Um,
I'll get back to you
Furpo's
on that.
out. Furpo's out. Then
yeah,
Furpo's
Furpo's out.
he's suspended. But
Yeah,
so
anyway, whoever it is, Saka's going to absolutely cause them mayhem tomorrow. And I've got it down as I think he'll at least score one. If not, I think he's scoring a brace tomorrow. So I think that's going to be our danger point. If Emil's in the middle, Saka and Emil's combination play is going to be absolutely incredible to watch because Leeds are very, they're very nippy. They want to get to the ball. They want to press very hard, and that suits our players. If it's Saka and Emil with each other, I think it's just going to be quick 1-2s around Leeds' defence, and it's just going to be an easy day at the office for them.
yeah. I mean, what do you think, Nom? Who would you start up top?
I'm gonna be a bit weird. I think I'd keep the same team, to be honest. I know Emil's coming back. He looks like he's looks refreshed, but I think if you keep Laka, then I think you keep the same sort of team as I think the thing with Leeds is they're going to go out and try to hit. If I was Leeds, they would try to hit us early with everything they've got, because I think they know they won't have the legs to sustain the one-on-one duels with us throughout the whole 90 minutes. Does that make sense? So the thing that Willow was saying, that if Laka isn't doing it, you can always bring on players and they could like turn the tide. If it's a close game still, or if it's still 0-0 in the second half. I think you go with the same team because look, I think rotation comes into play after this game. Does that make sense? If you look at the calendar, the games start coming thick and fast. And I will was saying that Balogun, he wants to see Balogun play. I think we've got the game against Sunderland coming up, haven't we? And we've got the game in the FA Cup. So I think I'd definitely earmark him to be sort of playing in the cup games. And then depending on injuries, God forbid we don't get many, he's going to be sort of crucial up until the time we decide, if he's going to go on loan or not, depending on what's going on with our transfer dealings in this January window. So I'm not worried about Balogun getting time. I think he's accepted what's going to happen to him in the future. It'd be a bonus if we can get him into some games before then, but I don't think tomorrow's game is that game. I think we need to keep that pattern going, the sort of familiarity with our pace of play. I think that's what's been good. I think, our build-up play has been much quicker than before. When we were struggling to sort of create chances and we were, moaning about the fact that we weren't sustaining pressure.
It wasn't our build-up though. It was more our second to third action conversion. Our build-up has always been our first action to second action transition.
Yeah, when I say that, sorry, you're right, Karen. I'm not specifying the first phase. I am talking about what we do in midfield and how we like the times when we have created goals. Our tempo's gone up and we've been able to push the passes through the lines and be brave with our decision making, And I think if you think about how we're playing now, we're not worried about. We are being patient when we need to be, when we want to control the game, but when we want to go and push the agenda, as we say in our attacking play, we are willing to take risks. We're willing to make, isolate players and take them on. We're allowed to play balls in there, knowing it might not be, it might be a 60-40 ball, but it's still something that you should play in there, because if you don't play those balls, let's be frank, you're not going to be able to create opportunities for your attacking players. So sometimes you have to be a little bit more forceful in your attacking play. And I think that's what we've been doing. So I think tomorrow I would start off with the same team and then assess everything at halftime and then see, which players we bring on and how they will impact the game as the game goes on. Right. But I expect Leeds to come at us full force straight away. If I was Bielsa, I would be prepping my team to try to see if we can, get a goal or at the start. And that way we can sort of try to sort of play a different game to the way the game that Arsenal want to play. Arsenal obviously want to get the lead first and control the game. And I think if Leeds get the goal first, or they can try to get the goal first, they'll think about trying to play on the counter against us. So and try to sort of see if they can get anything on transitions.
And what I'll say to you is the last game they were playing Firpo and Shackleton at fullbacks.
Yeah.
So neither of them are available. Dallas and Forshaw were their midfield, and James was up top with Rafinha, Roberts, and Harrison behind. So literally, you're talking about you've got no Calvin Phillips, who is a massive,
Yeah.
massive loss for
But
them.
James is injured as well, I heard. So that's another
James is
one off
injured
the
as
list.
well. This is the thing. So if you look at their key players, you're looking at someone in Calvin Phillips that wins his duels, makes sure he is very good in terms of he can drop into the back three, he can progress the play. He's not excessively good at getting the ball from into the opposition half, but he's someone that will. He's like I would like to say like an El Neni on steroids, like the best version of El Neni you could think of. Like he's someone that will win his duels, make sure he gets the ball up the pitch, and really go and make sure that you aren't getting beat constantly in transition. And without that, and you're going to have, I'm going to guess that he's going to try and maybe even play a pivot again with Forshaw and Dallas. But
Well, the thing is, can I say that something about Forshaw? I remember watching him closely because he's not a player that I think many people knew about, until he played. I think if I'm right, and I'm not Leeds, I don't follow the team, but I think it's one of the first games he played this season when he played against us in the cup, and we were winning the ball off him. So he was a good player. He was like playing the ball sideways. He's a different player to Calvin Phillips, and I think they played him in a double pivot against us, and it didn't work. But I think later on they played him further forward and had Calvin almost come back and split the centre backs to sort of try to keep, sort of circulate possession at the back. So they're going to lose a couple of facets that they were developing in their play that was having an effect on their overall game. I mean, that happens, I guess, with injuries and when you've got a small squad. So
yeah. So the thing is, when you have, I was just going to touch on that small squad point. When you have a team, this is my issue with managers like Bielsa, like Brendan Rodgers. When you have these types of managers that go so hard in training, you're going to be picking up injuries consistently, and that's what's happened to this Leeds squad. I think when you're having a team that is built around running and the Bielsa press and how they swarm you and make sure that their numbers will make sure that their overloads are swarming you, and so you do not get a second of time, and you have a small squad, it means that it just can't work. You need the rotation in your squad. You need to make sure that your 11 is able to sustain that level to keep you in the Premier League. Because people were talking, me included, I thought they could finish top half this season. But the problem that has happened is that you're getting a squad that has not been conducive to the style of play that Bielsa wants. You can't have that in the Premier. Maybe in La Liga or the Bundesliga, but in the Premier League, where duels and winning your duels are so important in transition, you're going to get crunching tackles, you're going to get injuries, and the pace of this league as well is conducive to soft tissue injuries and muscle injuries in general. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they line up. Just going to transition now into what our full lineup, because we talked about the striker. But what would you guys like to see? I'll go with Nom first, and then Willow, and then I'll give mine to see if there's any changes.
yeah, Karen, for me, I'd keep the same team. I think um, for me, I think we will. It's an away game, so I think we're going to be a little bit more. I don't think we're going to be as. I don't think we're going to get off to the fast starts like we do at home. We don't away from home usually, anyway. So I think we need to control, get into the game, win our duels, start taking control of the game, and then trying to sort of take any opportunities that we manage to create early on to be able to start controlling the game more. So for me, it's all about control and familiarity. And then I think as the game goes on, I think when they're in a constant one-on-one duels and they're trying to win their duels and they're trying to win possession back off us and they're trying to sort of press us and they're trying to sort of, somehow evade our counter press, because I think what we've been really good at, if you've analysed the Arsenal Leeds games, is that we've set really good traps for them. We've actually guided them away from I think we guide Meslier away from like kicking the ball down the right side towards his left side. Watch tomorrow, because I've been watching it now for 3 successive games against Leeds where we literally make him kick towards his weak side because we know we've got more chance of winning the possession back off him. So we're very clever at knowing what to do in exploiting their goalkeepers' abilities to sort of help them in the build-up. And if we back that up with really careful precision, what I call play in the final third, winning the ball back early, I think hopefully we can get a goal and then start controlling the game. And then I think as that progresses, I think that's when our subs will be really important. I think Laka probably will come off. I think Emil Smith-Rowe, if he's not playing from the start, will definitely come on. And I think that extra energy from those subs, I think, will make a difference towards the end of the game, in my opinion.
Will
So
it?
I'd keep the same team basically.
Yeah, will it?
Yeah, I'll change my team. I would keep the same back seven. So, you know, Ramsdale, Tommy, White, Gabriel, Tierney, and then the pivot of Xhaka and Partey stays the same. And then this is where I change. I put Saka on the right. I put Emil down the attacking mid, down the 10 spot. And then I put Martinelli on the left. And then I know it's not going to happen, but my dream Balogun would be up top for me because I really think this kid could play for us. He's just scoring goal after goal after goal. I think if you gave him a consistent, kind of the same thing what I said about Martinelli, how I wanted him to carry on. I wanted him to start and carry on starting. And he's proved me right by doing that. I want Balogun to come in. I think if you give him a consistent run, he will do as good, if not better, than what our strikers are doing at the moment. And with Smith-Rowe coming back in for Odegaard, I know Odegaard scored 3 games in a row, but Smith-Rowe just offers so much more down that right-hand side for us. The combination play between him and Saka is imperative. And even, you know, West Ham game, we obviously played well. Tommy did do well, but Saka had 3 man around him so many times.
Yeah.
You need that overlap for him, and Smith-Rowe offers that. Saka is like our best player. He generally is our best player. So when you're doing it, him and Smith-Rowe are our best players in my personal opinion. So when you've got them two together, it's just mayhem, and you need to unlock Saka. And if you're not going to have an overlap on him, it's just going to be 3 players around him all the time. And it is very, as much as Saka's amazing, and he's still got out of so many situations against West Ham, which is incredible to see. It just helps him so much more when you do have that overlap and he takes a player or 2 players off of him, and it really just unleashes one of the best right wingers in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I agree with you, Willow. I don't really see it happening.
Yeah,
which is sad. But
wait, which
I'm not with
Balogun?
Balogun, with Smith-Rowe.
Oh, okay.
I do think Laka starts. I would
Yeah.
like to see Laka start personally. I think, but this is a great game for a Balogun cameo. I think this is a great game for him to, because I feel like we put a lot of pressure on him against Brentford. Like when he had to start and he had to be the guy, and it was a lot for him. And we were putting him up against 2 centre backs that were very, very up for it, and that entire team was very up to it. And they were at times switching to going man to man on him, and sometimes switching to go and just literally give him space and just try to sit behind him and just basically block off his running lanes. So it was very, very difficult for him to actually look and come in directly. I think I would definitely have him on the bench. I think there's no reason to not have him on the bench. I think he needs to be on the bench. I would have so Ramsdale, Tierney, Gabriel White, Tomiyasu, Xhaka, Partey, Martinelli, Emil, and Saka with Lacazette up front. I do agree with you about the combo play with Saka. And my major thing is if you're playing a team that has no fullbacks and this team doesn't, you have Bukayo Saka on one end and you have Gabriel Martinelli on the other end. It's time to spam people. It's time we can't be going central this game. We need to go left to right or even right to left at times and really pump in, either getting Tierney wide and having Martinelli come in and trying to find that 2-on-1 overload with whoever they do put at left back, and just dominate. Maybe start putting some balls into the center from Martinelli, because his ball production has been very, very good, especially from set pieces. But he started to whip in balls in terms of set pieces and just crosses in general. So I would like to see that kind of dynamic. Obviously, Tierney's a great crosser as well, and with Saka, I mean, what is there left to say? He's just going upper level with it. Just on one-on-one, he's always been elite. But like the ball retention that you're seeing, the ability just to beat a man and maybe get a cross in, maybe get a shot off. And even if sometimes the shots aren't going in as they are right now, he's still picking up assists. He's still getting, what people want, which is output. And it's very, very. This is a game where you can really start to think, okay, this is the statement game where you can have the 4, the 5, maybe even the 6-0, because the amount of people out and the actual degree of the injuries and the suspensions they have is just, it's just not plausible to, like I really struggle with, like, I'm not going to get cocky here because we've tried that in the past, it's gone very wrong, but it's very
Don't do
much
it,
a
Karen. I
case.
was about to say, listen, bro, don't do it.
It's very much a game where we need to just impose ourselves, really understand that this is the game where you need to realize that you are the favorites in this game, home or away, and shift the mentality, shift the mentality to going, instead of being the away team, that you are the team that is imposing the tempo and the state of play and the game state on the opposing team. So I'm looking forward to seeing whether we can do that or not. The other thing I'm going to talk about, and Yo is sorry, well, just give me a second. Yo's made a very good point. Look, I personally think that Xhaka might get rested. This is a very good point. He's played 3 games in 9 or 10 days. So yeah, it's a very good point. I don't think the other 2 will. I don't really know who you bring in for Laka. I mean, you Balogun maybe, or Nketiah maybe, but I don't think that there is the need to at this moment in time. Tierney, no, this is not a game for Tierney to be benched for fitness. I think he's fit enough to play 55, 60 to 80 minutes at least. And we do have Nuno on the bench if we need him. So it's a good point. Maybe Xhaka, because Xhaka is a realistic one because of, the ability after coming back from injury. He was starting to look a bit leggy in that second half against West Ham. So maybe it's one you say to Xhaka, look, you can come on maybe after 65, 70 minutes. Maybe Ainsley gets a game. It would be lovely. I'd love to see Ainsley get a game.
Karen, I think our next game is against Sunderland on Tuesday. So we've got plenty of time for those players to get a game. I think, if anything, some of those players will be taken off in the second half just to make sure, depending on the game state and where we are in the game. I think ideally, if the manager could pre-plan where he'd like to be with the game, he would like to feel like he's comfortable enough to be able to take a few of those players off, knowing that players coming on will have another shot on Tuesday.
The only reason I say Xhaka is because of the injury. The only reason I say is because of the severity of his injury and the fact that he wasn't meant to be back yet. So I really do think that it might be a game to rest Xhaka, because we do have 2 options on the bench. We have Lokonga and Ainsley. So it's not, if one wants to play tomorrow and then the other can play on Tuesday, or even if you say 45 to 50 minutes of Xhaka and then take him off. But I would like to see, it's very important that we start to pile points on, because teams aren't playing right now, and just to have that psychological advantage of having a bit of a lead right now would help. So yeah, we need him fit.
I think I agree with you, Karen. I think it's about putting the points on the board first, and then looking at developing where you are with your aspects of play and how you sustain that and how you keep reinforcing that. Because I think, look, one of the things with us is we talk about this as if we're like Man City sometimes, we should go and beat them 6-7-0. We're not Man City. Our squad is still developing. And I think we need to remember that we are going to get these shots. Well, look, the reason why I say this is because, look, I want to temper everyone's ideas about where this team should be. Not because I don't have optimism where they will reach eventually. I just want people to understand they're still young. And when you're a young team, there's certain things you need to reinforce first before you can sustain them, right? And to reinforce things is like, you need to show the players that, look, you guys can go to places like Leeds, regardless of where they play, and play your game. Right, focus on your game, focus on how you play, focus on getting focus on not being sloppy, focus on making sure that your pass is crisp, regardless of whoever's put in front of you, right? Because I think when you keep on reinforcing the aspects that you want to sort of see in your team consistently, and they get to practice those in real competitive game situations, regardless of who the opposition is, every time they win or they are able to win using those principles, it reinforces them mentally, it reinforces them in terms of confidence, it reinforces them in terms of momentum. And that's key, right? I heard somebody say to me last week that, we're just beating teams which are, the lower teams. I'll be frank with you. How do you think Arsenal managed to get top 4 all those years? He did that because he used to beat all the, lower fodder teams, So
The
that's not
lower
a bad
teams.
thing, I
The
think.
thing is, it's not a bad thing. But the point is, I just want to make sure we stick to the point here, because it's very much a case that we need to be looking at this game as not some sort of, lightning rod, or this is everything, or this is not that big a deal. This is one game out of 38. We need to look at it as a game that we should win. There are we need to look at how the game will progress and what we think will happen. There's no need to be making sort of massive statements of either way. It's a game. It's a game of football, and we have a lot of them coming up, and it's an important game because of the implications about our away form, the gap to the Uniteds and the Spurses of the world, etc., etc. But we do need to make sure that we aren't looking. This is what I don't do. I don't like doing. Okay, this game means this. This game means this. It's a game of football. We'll judge how we look at. We'll judge the season at the end of the season, and we need to look. We need to look at how we are dealing with these games, because it's a very important time in the season. But going back to Leeds, I do want to make sure that we say that we're looking at a midfield battle right now in terms of Xhaka and Partey. This is a game where they both should be able to dominate. Xhaka should be able to be doing those great balls from the second third into the final third. Partey should be able to be carrying the ball and progressing the ball. This is a very good game for them. Just get some form, get some rhythm, maybe even a Partey goal. Who knows? But let's just get a bit of form for them. And it's not something I'm saying, oh, that Leeds are crap. They're not crap, but we do need to look and see this is a game that we need to be taking our opportunities right now. So yeah. What do you think about what do you guys think about this game in terms of where we're looking at and how we can exploit this game? Willow or Nom, go for it, mate.
Well, how we can exploit this game? For me, it's Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe exploits this game, and Saka. I've said it. So I think the reason why Smith Rowe has to play as well is because we know how Leeds play. They love to press, and who doesn't like impact in the back of them? Odegaard. Odegaard hates that. So I think that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a player like Smith Rowe to be able to get that pass, as you talked about, Karen. Xhaka getting them final balls into the final third. Or, Smith Rowe also occupying that half space. Partey loves a ball into them half spaces as well. So doing that, Smith Rowe picking that ball up, rolling one of the, if it's Dallas or whoever it is in that defensive mid position, rolling him, and then being able to bring that ball forward and looking for them passes into Saka or into Martinelli, making the runs in behind, or maybe even laying it off to Lacko and Lacko doing some nice combination play to one of the other 3 forwards. I think that's really how we exploit it. Also, I think Tierney can have a very good day at the office. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if Tierney comes away with another assist in his locker. I think he'll be getting down that side a lot of times. As you said, Curran, they don't actually have natural fullbacks playing tomorrow. So it's going to be very difficult for them. And Kieran is excellent at exploiting that channel down the left-hand side and being able to put balls in there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little Martinelli-Tierney combo either. Tierney crossing it in and Martinelli getting his head up in the end of it. I think that's how we win the game. Smith Rowe bringing the ball forward, Tierney whipping in balls, and then the combination play also of Saka and Smith Rowe. That is how we win that, and set pieces as well, because we're just brilliant at set pieces.
And the other thing is when you look at someone like Xhaka, this is a second ball monster. So when there are loose balls, when there's an ability to look and see how do we get on the ball, and how do we get the ball back into the final third, that's what Xhaka is there for. One thing I do want to talk about is the battle of the presses, because obviously this is Marco Bielsa. This is the Bielsa press, And we have shown against West Ham that we have the ability to do that kind of press, not be the Bielsa press, but in terms of a high energy press. Do you guys see us going for our usual passing lanes, looking to make sure that we're safe and just trying to get the ball back through blocking off the lanes that the centre backs have to the midfield, or do you think we're going to go high energy? Let's get the ball back. We need to rush them.
I think first 20 minutes, I think we'll feel ourselves into it. You know, we'll feel out the opponent, see what they're doing. They'll see what we're doing. So I think first 20 minutes, it may be a bit of we'll press you, you press us. And it might be kind of what West Ham was like. You know, we're feeling each other out. We're looking at what's actually going on in the game. We'll both lose the ball at times. And I think after like the 20 to 25-minute mark, I think that's when we'll start to impose ourselves. Maybe stop being a bit safer, start to get more players up the pitch and start protecting the ball a bit more as well. I think we'll be, obviously as well, we're away from home. So our players are always a bit more on the back foot as what they are at home. So I don't think we'll be as aggressive as what we were against West Ham, but I still think we will be more aggressive than we've been this season.
No?
I think we've got a tried and tested formula against Leeds. I think he's not going to do anything different to what he does. I think Leeds' build-up relies a lot on how they use their goalkeeper, Meslier. He's an excellent goalkeeper, don't get me wrong, and he's very good at his feet, but he does have weaknesses. We know his weaknesses. So unless Bielsa's gone back to the drawing board and found a way of playing out that first phase, he's going to put his team into trouble, right? I think we've got a set press already, as I said, that will be employed. Whether or not we press with high intensity is really down to Leeds, because I think what happens is Leeds dictate how we press them, because if they go and jump and send men forward to press us, they sort of expose themselves to transitions, right? Especially if we can break their press. And I think Ramsdale's like our secret weapon, because unlike Meslier, I don't really see a weakness in how Ramsdale can distribute the ball. He can go long, he can go short, he can go left or right.
The thing is with Meslier is he's very good in terms of getting the ball into either distributing it long or just being on the ball and just nicking it to a different player. My issue with Meslier is his handling and his throwing. I don't really think he has a good throw on him, whereas Ramsdale, he can throw, he can. And what the problem we give teams is Ramsdale. What Ramsdale does is Ramsdale can kick long, and that pushes teams back. And what our press done is it draws teams forward. So we're looking to cramp the area that people get the ball in, and we can. It really does make sure that you're making the area that the teams receive the ball and try to get the ball back from us. We control where that happens, because we have players like Ben White who can, if you play it short and he can just run. But if you have Ramsdale kicking it long, you can have basically it draws their line out. But Ben White is there, so they have to be wary of that ball over the top as well. So you're compressing them into one area. And with Leeds, I don't see that Meslier has that ability to just. I don't see them having, first of all, a ball carrier in either one of, I think it's Ayling or who's the second centre back? Ayling or
Cock will probably have to play Lorente.
Yeah, probably. It'll probably be yeah. Like neither of them, I would say, are elite ball carriers.
Lorente was used. They did use Lorente as the guy who's, when we played him in the cup game, they used Lorente as the guy who's carrying the ball out and sort of bringing the ball out of their defense. But Curran, go back to it.
Yeah,
it'll
be Lorente and Ayling, I think, probably.
Just watch this thing I'm telling you guys now. Watch Meslier, how we press him when he gets the ball. Watch us guide him to go from right to left. We want him to kick the ball right to left. So watch that in tomorrow's game. See if you guys pick this up, because as I said, I've watched this now three games running now.
This is the thing.
Where we've actually specifically targeted him to kick that direction instead of going down from left to right. We want him to kick that direction, and we've set a sort of trap before for them. And sort of Bielsa's aware of this, but I don't think in the last few games he's come up with a solution for it. we came up with a really good solution to their press, though. Do you remember in the cup game when we had Holding and Ben
Yeah.
White running through their press? You know,
Yeah,
so they sort of
pretty
back
much, yeah.
off. And I
correct.
think again we're gonna make I think Bielsa's got a dilemma now. Does he tell these players to come and really press the centre backs? Because he saw what happened when he told them not to sort of do it, and we sort of managed to use our goalkeeper and get one of the centre backs onto the ball and literally run through their lines, which caused all sorts of mayhem. It's almost like taking a battering ram and destroying any organised press that you have. And that's the reason why we got these guys, right? That's why we've got them and the ability for them to be playing centre back. They can both carry the balls. Obviously, Ben's better at it. I think Gabriel's not been. I've actually been really impressed. I've got to say this with a lot of things that Gabriel's done this year. I think his passing, choice. That goal that we scored against West Ham, where he chose that pass to pass it into Lacazette.
Powered it into
it. And the pace of his pass and the timing of his passes, the disguise on his passes, lots of new elements to his passing game that wasn't there last year were there this year. And I think he didn't play in the cup game because I think Holding played, didn't he? And I think Ben White went off injured, didn't he, or something? He had an injury scare or something, and Chambers came on. Do you remember? If you remember, I'm trying to recall the game now, but yeah, I honestly think tomorrow those two are going to be critical in how we decide to dismantle their sort of press. Whether we go through the centre back, carry it.
Because the thing is, if they try and go hell for leather, they'll get dribbled past. They will just get dribbled past. And you're right. And this is the thing: when you dribble past their front line, there's no Phillips.
That midfield's exposed.
Yeah, there's no Phillips.
It's like taking the towel off Leeds and they've got no underwear on, and they're just standing there naked, thinking, God, let's hope that they forget that they've seen this site. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's the way they play, though. That's their system. They don't change. They don't change for anybody. So,
yeah,
we've got to decide. I think, as I said, that the way Leeds decide to do certain things, we will have solutions to them. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And I know it sounds weird, but we sort of, I think our pressing has become much more nuanced than it had been before Mikel came and took over. We could only press one way when I remember us pressing before. Now I think we're much more clever in the way we press and what kind of press we sort of set up. And we always have two options at least.
So the thing is, and it is a good point that we need to talk about, is Chambers last game came on and scored a corner, and we're obviously been proficient from set pieces this game.
Yep.
Against Leeds. So, and this season we've been prolific against with set pieces. And if you look at the height we have, Gabriel has been great in the box. White is there. You've got the likes of Xhaka and Partey. Partey's even scored a goal. So Tomiyasu. So there's a lot of height there, and I do expect there to be some. Either a set piece goal or maybe a set piece leading some kind of chaos that ends up in a goal or some chances from set pieces. So it'll be interesting to see about how we influence the game via set pieces. What do you guys think about the battle that we're going to have in terms of them coming out to us? Do you think they're going to try and come out at us? Do you think they're going to try and low block it and try and just go for it, or do you think they're going to try and stick to their Bielsa press and just go for it, and then get beat?
I think you said I don't think Leeds change for anyone, do they? They don't change for anyone, and I don't think they'll ever learn. They just got beat 7-0, and I bet you anything Bielsa goes, we do the exact same thing. We don't change for anyone. We'll learn and we'll carry on learning.
I'll tell you why he's not going to change, and I'll make it really clear, because I think Bielsa. It's not like Bielsa's being arrogant. I think he's got a lot of young players who are going to come into that team, right? He's got to tell these players, look, regardless whether you're young players coming into the team or you're experienced players or you're my first team players, whoever you are, when you come into the team, you guys need to know your role. You need to understand the principles that we're playing at. He is a purist in terms of principle of play, right? So the way he plays, he wants all his players to believe in that, all his players to come and play that, win, lose, draw, right? Because ultimately, that's how he builds that ethos around his squad. So I can't see him compromising purely because that he's down on injuries, etc., etc. I think he gives out the same instructions. He tweaks his instructions, he does, and he tweaks things. Bielsa's not stupid, right? but at the same time, he's not going to change the fundamental principles that he sends his teams out with. Where they are always dangerous, current when they build, when they get into the final third, is how they create overloads on the flanks, right? But we've studied them long enough to understand where they want to hurt us and where they want to be able to create angles to be able to put balls in the box. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So we've got to be careful about Rafinha because we all know he's a quality player, right?
And this is
So
why I want
we've got to
Tierney as well. I feel like Tierney is the main reason that you can just put Tierney on him. And I'm gonna
And
move on
Granit,
to
Granit, if Granit plays, Granit will help in that situation because he's been
yeah,
good at
yeah.
covering those areas and zones that, when Rafinha cuts in onto his left foot, if he will need to be on alert to make sure we can't give away set pieces ourselves. We don't want any free kicks. I mean, we've been very good at defending corners. I was really impressed. I just want to say this:
Oh,
the way we played against West Ham.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, do you remember last year we looked vulnerable every set piece that they put in. I mean, this year we've been so much better drilled and so much more confident in dealing with whoever it is when it comes to. I don't want this to buy. Can you imagine now what's going to happen, right? But I'm just saying,
a free kick.
Yeah, or a set piece, and everyone clipping this the segment. But look, I just want to go back to the West Ham thing. I want to give a lot of praise to our set piece coach. He's got a lot of praise in terms of attacking set pieces, but I think we're seeing a change also in our defensive set. And I think, let's be frank, it might be down to a lot to do with the personnel that we've got there. We've got players like Tomiyasu and Ben and Gabriel who all won't shirk, going in for a header or going in and putting where their head hurt.
No, Ben White's terrible at headers, apparently. Apparently he's
well,
really.
obviously, because let's just pick the game with him up against Ivan Toney, where Ivan Toney's just flicking the ball to, space.
It's not like Ivan Toney didn't do that against Van Dijk or Matip.
Well, exactly, but then nobody will talk about that, will they? Because they'll just say, "Scotty Brentford" when it's anybody else. But it's oh, look at how rubbish Arsenal are if we play them. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, I want to ask you about something. So, I want to ask, is there a duel that you're looking at to see we can exploit this, and is there a duel that you're kind of okay? We need to win this to make sure that we can stamp this game out. So, and also if there's a player that you don't think that has been talked about that should get some airtime, Willow, you can go first, or Norm if you feel like you've got one.
I think for me the duels that we're looking at, as we said, Tierney and Rafinha, I think from a defensive point of view that's the big duel. I then think in an attacking sense, I think I was trying to look at Leeds' team and work it out and piece it together. I think Koch and Llorente will be the centre backs. I think Ayling will go out to right back.
Sorry, say that again.
So it'll be Koch and Llorente. Koch.
Oh, okay.
His name is Koch. His name is Koch.
Sorry. I thought you called Llorente a cock. I thought, what the hell's going on here? I didn't realise you didn't like him, though. Yeah.
So it'll be Koch and Llorente. I think Ayling will be on the right, and then I think it will be.
I don't even know if they're going to have enough back. Seriously, I have no idea.
But yeah. So anyway,
I honestly think it's going to be Dallas. I think if they have got one, they're going to push one of their more experienced.
He has to go in the middle. He has to go in the middle. They need their experience in the middle. So I think it'll be because they subbed off for Junior Firpo. It was Drama. Do you remember him as well? He was awful against us in the cup. That Drama guy at left back, he was terrible. We were ripping him a new one.
Drama,
the whole game. He kept on getting caught out. But remember,
it probably will be him.
The biggest thing in that game was, do you remember? And I kept on remember the commentator saying how Leeds was too scared to pass him the ball. They didn't want to pass him the ball in the defensive areas, so they kept on doing it a different way, and it just kept on playing into our hands because we kept on pressing them, and they were literally playing with 10 men. They didn't.
Willow, stop there for a second. Do you know why that was happening? Because remember I told you where the goalkeeper was getting pressed. He was being told we were pressing him for him to go right to left.
No, it wasn't just that, mate. It really wasn't.
Yeah. No, I wasn't that. But we were already doing that as the pattern of play for our press.
We were, but there was a lot.
And then they brought on one of the worst players that they could have brought on in that area, and I thought, oh shit, here we go.
But yeah, they had so many times they did get out of play, and it was like Drama. So the other big one will be Drama Saka, and I think it will be an absolute massacre. As I said, I think Saka's getting a brace tomorrow, so that is the big jewels.
Right. I need to calm Willow down, bro, because I don't calm him down.
Before we move on to Nom, is there a player that you think that we haven't mentioned that you might want to have a bit of have a talk about, or are you good? Willow.
Wait, did you say sorry? I thought you said Nom.
No, I
No,
said
no,
before we get to
you want
Willow.
to know if there's a
Before we get
player
to
that we
Nom,
should
sorry.
watch out for that's not usually mentioned.
I tell you what, if Leeds are going to do anything, it will probably come from, I guess Tyler Roberts. He's not. I don't think he's a great player, but sometimes he just pops up here and there. So I just it's him wandering into the box. Sometimes he does them little wanders into the box where no one picks him up. So apart from that, I don't really think Leeds offer us really a threat. Another thing, I think Ben White will be the crucial one. I think, as you said earlier, I think he'll be right. I think we'll see Ben White run 50 yards a few times in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs 50 yards and has a shot himself from about 40 yards out. So I'm going to put that in my prediction as well. I think we're going to get 3 goals, and I think Ben White's going to get
Bloody hell, Willow, man! Now he's mapped down like Ben White doing a 40-yard mazy run and going for a shot. Hold on, this is on top of you saying that you wanted Parr to take a shot. So they're gonna have to bring more. They're gonna have to bring more balls down than the odd 5-6 match balls that they have because Parr's gonna put at least a few of them over
Ben
the roof.
White's just going back of the net, mate.
All right, Nom, you next, mate. One duel that you think you're
Yeah, I
that
think
are concerned about,
on
one you're
paper,
looking forward to, and
I think
someone you don't
Rafinha.
really want to.
Yeah, I think Rafinha. I think Willow's right to say Rafinha's going to be their main danger man. He's the one who scores the goals, makes them tick in that final third. So one of the things I would want it's not. I don't think it's going to be just if he gets isolated with Tierney, then that's going to be obviously where the problem is, especially if he cuts inside because then Tierney's going to have to tackle on his weaker foot. So that's where I said Granit's going to be important in that zone, waiting, anticipating that he's going to do that. I think that's where he gets help. You want Rafinha to go down the line and try to cross the ball with his right foot. You don't want him coming inside on his left foot. I think I don't know who. I honestly don't know who's going. I've got this funny feeling. As I said, my feeling is that he's going to know that Saka's going to be a real problem, so he's going to try to play Dallas at fullback. Funny enough, the player that I think that there's 2, but I don't know if this kid's going to play. Dallas is usually the one I would have said is the guy that we need to watch out for because I think he's actually a quality, very intelligent player, right? I think he's always underrated by people outside of Leeds. I think Leeds fans rate him a lot as a player and in terms of the energy he brings, and he always has something in about his locker that's a bit unexpected, you know. But he has to get up to this. I'm glad if he does go fullback, I'll be over the moon because he's the kind of player who's very clever in midfield, and he's just the kind of weird player who turns up at the edge of your box and takes a shot and manages to ping it into the back of the net. So yeah, and then the other kid that I want is that kid. I can't remember his name now. Is that Scouse kid that they've got? Someone help me out. He came on. He's left-footed.
We're talking about a striker.
Yeah,
Gelhardt.
Gerhardt, yeah. I've been really impressed with him. He's really brave. He really goes for it.
Yeah.
Tyler Adams for me is a little bit more predictable. He's a bit of a bully. He's a bit of like an aggressive attacking player. But that kid, he's got something about him. I can't quite put my finger on it. You know, when you see a player and you think there's something about this kid. So I've seen him play and I come off the bench and there's something about him. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't think he is. I think they start with Tyler Roberts, Rafinha, and Harrison as their front 3. So I can't see this kid playing, but who knows? I mean, Bielsa might think, okay, forget it. You know, I can spin the wheel a little bit in terms of team selection here and bring a kid like him on. You know, if he thinks that it's a game that he doesn't see himself winning, managers are. I mean, and they never say this to you, know, but sometimes some of their decision making does involve like the likelihood of them winning a game. So I don't know. I think those are the players that I would watch out for, and those are the duels that I'd be looking forward to.
So for me, I think both the duels, I think the same as me. I think we've said enough about it. Saka versus, I'm guessing it will be Drama because I've just looked into it. I looked on the BBC website just to see who their last lineup was, and they brought Drama on again for Firpo. So I'm going to guess it's going to be him. So Saka is going to be lovely. But one duel I did want to mention is it's probably going to be Partey versus Forshaw. I think Forshaw is going to be extremely, you know, he's going to be on his toes. He's going to have to watch out because what's going to happen is Leeds will try and push Forshaw a bit higher. I don't think they're going to try. I think they're going to try and play a pivot again. And what happened was when they did play a pivot, is that Dallas kind of tried to be that the Douglas Luiz or that we had against Aston Villa or the or a Xhaka or a Maitland-Niles, someone who is going to try and get the ball, drop in and try and get the ball in that first phase, and then try to spring it. But my thing is if Forshaw relaxes at any point, because he's going to be isolated at times, and you're going to have runners in behind, so that if either one of Erdegaard or Emil get free, Partey will be able to spring that space behind Forshaw, and that's deadly for them. So it's really, I want to make sure that if Partey goes up, it's going to be dangerous for them. And I think Partey could have a very good game because their midfield is very, very depleted at this moment in time. So if Dallas drops and Partey can exploit the space that either, because the thing is, what happened against West Ham is that Xhaka at times was more advanced. I think we'll get. It's been a pattern this season where we've had Xhaka advancing and Partey kind of sit. But if you look at the Leicester game where we did win, Partey went past Tielemans constantly and got past him and went for the Samare duel. And Samare and him had a duel, but the fact is, it was in their half, and Partey was much higher up because Tielemans was trying. Basically, the space was behind Tielemans, and we were trying to get players in behind Tielemans, and Partey was occupied by Samare. But the fact is, at this point, it's going to be opposite. I think because if he does play a pivot, if he doesn't play a pivot, if he goes 4-1-4-1 or 4-3-3, however you want to put it. There's going to be, they don't have the box. They have a triangle in midfield between their in their midfield. So they're sacrificing that central compactness to try and just flood man from in their press. So if they get beat, Partey will eat. It's that simple. I think that is a major duel. I think obviously Saka versus Drama is going to be a major duel. Tierney, if it is Dallas at left back, whoever their left back is, I really, really think Tierney's gonna have a great game, and so will Gabby. We're gonna move into predictions soon because I know Nom's dreading it already. I can see him. I can feel it. But at some point we'll move into predictions. But it's gonna be a case where I really want us to look at their fullback options and attack their fullbacks, as well as isolate whoever is in their pivot. Because I have a feeling they will play a pivot. They played one against Man City. They might have to play one again tomorrow. So we'll have to see. Their lineup is going to be unpredictable because they've got so many absences. And that midfield battle will mean that we will have the ability to sustain pressure in their half instead of sustain pressure or having to sustain pressure in the middle third and try and advance the ball in phases into that final third. So for me, I really feel like this is a game where we need to play it in their half, and even if we don't play it in their half, I don't think it'll be that big a deal. But if we're gonna look and put a standout performance in and really put a stamp on it, this is a game where look, Ben White and Gabriel are going to be on the center circle at some point, and you've got to be looking at that and saying this is how we're going to play, because this, in reality, in theory, this sounds like a championship team we're coming up against. There's so many injuries. So many injuries. So I don't know. What are we thinking in terms of? I think we've covered most things. I mean, let me just have a think if there's anything left. Anything you boys ever have to want to say before I get back into and think of something else.
No, I'm happy to wait till predictions, mate.
Nom, anything on your mind?
No,
mate?
I was just going to say, Karen. I mean, we already discussed it, but I think before we came on air that somewhere along the line, I think Arteta's still going to get drummed with, about Oba, when he's going to play, when he's not going to play, etc., etc. So I don't know. I've got this funny feeling in my bones. I'm just going to mention it that I think he's on his way out, bro. So I'd love for us to do a space for something.
Yeah,
talking about transfers, etc. Because that I
Mm.
think is going to be something that's going to follow up
yeah,
eventually.
we will be doing it. I think I was saying to you before, there's so many games coming. You know what I mean? There's so many games, and I want to make sure that we have a. Because the thing is, if we do a transfer show now,
No,
and
I get
then
it. We can't do it now,
you know what I
but
mean,
we
and
I
then
think we should
like
mention it.
2 weeks down the line, the situation's completely changed.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. So I assure everyone, and I hope everyone realizes we will be doing a transfer show. I want to do a couple more shows, but Willow, prediction.
I've been fluttering with what I want to do. I'll go for it. As I said, I think Saka will score 2 goals, so there's a brace for you. So that's at least 2-0. I'm going to go with that. I think Ben White is going to go on a big run, and I think he's going to do a long shot, kind of like what Trent did with his kind of shot against Newcastle, and I think he's going to bury it. So there's your 3. It's just, is it going to be 3-0 or is it going to be 3-1? I keep on putting ones at the end of our scoreline, and we keep on keeping clean sheets.
Don't. Actually, hold on and listen. Put a 1 if we kept on keeping clean sheet every time he predicts it.
Okay. Just for non-sanity. No, but no, we're doing a prediction table, Dart. Okay, no, 3-1. Yeah, 3-1 Arsenal.
I'm gonna stick to what I said before, and I'm gonna say 4-0. I do think it's gonna be quite a. Guys, I'm not saying this in terms of a cocky way. I really do think that there's an opportunity here to really put that statement performance away from home and just say, look, we need to need to look at this team and think about what we're doing in terms of top 4, whatever you want to talk about, because there's been a lot of noise all season long. We need something. We need a statement. If it's this game or Norwich, I don't really care. Away from home, we do need a solid, a thumping, and I think people have been crying out for it. Before we do go, I will take the question because it is a good question. Do we reckon Bielsa's job is a threat?
No, in my opinion.
No, not really. They love him. They love him. They love Bielsa like a lot. Like even the thing with Bielsa is Bielsa has been criticized a lot, as we've said before, about having such a small squad and having to put his style of football with such a small squad. And if you're going to do that, it's going to carry massive amounts of risk. And I don't see them, because from even the season before they got promoted, there was always that love for him. He was the man. And I think it'll take more just than, even if they get relegated, I don't really see them ditching him.
I think he would leave.
I think he'd leave. That's a good point. I think he would leave. I don't think they'd sack him. They really love him. What do you guys think?
I think he's been overperforming, really. If you look at the kind of squad he's got and what he's been doing with it, I think he has been overperforming for a while. Like, they had a brilliant first season into the Premier League. I don't think anyone predicted Leeds to do as well as they did. Everyone thought, oh no, you're not going to be able to come here and play that type of football with the players you've got in the Premier League, and they did. They did really well. They've been really unfortunate with injuries this season, so they are going to be in a relegation fight this season because of that and the injuries they're faced. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's in danger of losing a job, because I tell you what, I think the problem he's had is Patrick Bamford being injured. Right, I think
that's a massive blow.
Massive blow for them, because they've created chances against teams, and if they don't score first and start controlling games, it becomes much harder for them to win the game overall.
They've never been a defensively sound team. This is the thing.
No, they've never been that. And I think is if they get those players back, they can beat anyone on their day, right? So that's the magic about Leeds, right? They can turn up and really put a performance on and beat anyone on their day. So I think they still have enough in their squad when everyone's fit and healthy again for them to be able to get themselves out of the trouble, because they can score goals, right? So I think that's the most important aspect. I think that's the aspect that I think Leeds fans aren't panicking or wanting to throw him overboard as a manager, because I think they understand the issues that they've got. I mean, some of the fans are a bit miffed that they didn't spend money on making the squad bigger, but I think they must have some sort of financial fair play issues, because they didn't go crazy last summer, did they? Compared to the way they did the summer before. I think they're it'd be interesting to see, do you remember that chart that was produced which showed that Everton are like on minus something that they can spend in the next transfer window, something crazy like that. I'd love to see what Leeds was on that chart because I can't remember off the top of my head. So I think that's where they're at because I think I read somewhere that someone asked him about are they going to add to the squad, and he was very evasive about adding players to the squad to the squad he's got. I think if he is going to bring players in, I think he was looking to probably get loan players in, not permanent signings.
All right. On that note, we'll just go to final thoughts. If there's anyone who wants to say anything, for me, a real performance is due. I think for this game, I think we are because personally, when I took my break, I didn't watch any football, so I didn't watch the Everton game and the Southampton game until like today actually. Today and yesterday I watched both one game yesterday and one game today. So
you put yourself through the Everton game. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I put myself through the Everton game and that was
What Will, you got making the good with the bad, bro? You can't just let him watch all the good stuff. Do you know what I mean? The rest of us
so after Everton I do think that we need to there are questions starting to creep in, and we do need to look at this team and have a real performance because, as many people pointed out, it's a mentality thing. It's really, I think these players are, when they go away, they just don't feel. I think the confidence is lacking away from home. I just think that everything is clicking so well at home, and they just need that sort of galvanizing, that one win that will take them, and it's just sort of like, okay, we can do it away. We can actually
Karen, you have to give it to the home support, though. I think, and don't get me wrong, our away support is brilliant. I think our home supporters, the stadium, the atmosphere, has made a massive difference in players like being able to resustain, like their performances in home games. So I think
I've been at Palace and at Watford. I mean, I only drew at Palace, but Watford, it was banging. It was amazing that home support. Yeah.
So I think that's been a big factor. But I think with this game, I think for me, it's about momentum. It's about reinforcing principles that we've started to develop in these first two. These other two games against Southampton, against West Ham. More so against West Ham, where I thought we were much more dominant in that West Ham game than I expected us to be. And I want us to carry on with that mentality because, as I said, you're right, it's about mentality. It's about developing a mentality and now transferring it to the away performances because that's how you then become a good team over time.
Hello?
Was this final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts, mate.
Another 3 points in the bag. Easy win. I don't want to be like that. No, I
thought you were still dreaming about that Ben White run. I thought you were still formulating that in your mind still.
No, I just think it's important. Look, it's just another game, and we need the 3 points, and it just puts pressure on everyone else. You got to look around. Yeah. You look at the Tottenhams, the Manchester United, who are having delayed fixtures, even though they've got loads of games in hand. You start looking at Arsenal and think, oh, Jesus, they're now 7 points ahead of us, even if they've got 4 games in hand. That, it's still a lot.
They have to win the games.
In congestion, it can turn around in 9 days. They could have 3 games. And in them 9 days, they once had 4 games in hand, and then they could only have 1 game in hand, that they could still be about 6 points behind. If you look at Tottenham's kind of fixtures, they had Liverpool and Leicester to play. So it's not exactly like it's easy fixtures to come and actually get the same points as us. But it's just...
Willow, you touched on a good point there because psychologically, if you think about it, if we get our points on the board, everyone will be looking to sort of catch us, right? We won't be worried about where Man United and Tottenham are because we don't know where they're going to be, right? So we don't have to focus on any other team. We just have to focus on ourselves, and that's a good place to be.
And that's always where we do struggle. How many times has it been Arsenal like, oh my God, like Man U and Tottenham have lost, we can get into top 4, and then we've bottled it. So we're always better when we're not looking over our shoulders at the other teams, that we're just looking at ourselves. So I actually think this really suits us at the moment.
Yeah, that's just a long way to stay like that.
Right. So first of all, thank you, Nom. We'll have his at is in the description at Noman Ali. He is one of our good friends on Twitter. So if you haven't seen any of his stuff, do check him out. He's not on as many spaces as he used to be.
But yeah, bro, I appreciate coming on here. Like you know me. Sometimes they come along to this retirement home and just wheel me out once in a blue moon.
Yeah. So but yeah, if you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Everything does really make a difference here, and yeah, we've just hit 850 subs. Thank you very, very much for that, and we're still creeping up to that 1K mark, and hopefully soon we'll hit it. All the links are in the description. Please follow us at BoP Footy just for updates. I know we've had issues with people coming in and out, so the Twitter's not been as active as it has been, but we're getting back to it. The other thing I want to mention is that everything we're going to be starting doing, we're not going to just be doing match previews and match reviews. We're going to be doing a space again at some point about the transfer window. We'll also have a general talk about top four teams that you've enjoyed, all sorts of good stuff. And we're not just going to be doing one; we'll do multiple. So I really have. If you haven't tuned in or you haven't subscribed, please do. We've got so much coming up, and thank you guys for the continued support. It really has been great to see. So, on that note, thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you soon. All right, take care now.